Okay, so fungible means something which is replaceable or interchangeable with some another of the same type. For example, currency, right? So if you have a $10 note, so that can be exchanged, or replaced with another $10 note. So both have the same value. Similarly, like if there's a gold bar, right, of say, 10 grams. So if you replace it with 10 grams, you have the same value. So that is called fungible asset, which is like replaceable and interchangeable of the same value. Again, they are like mass produced goods, right? So you have, say, for example, this is a book, right? So this book is again mass produced, right? So you can have like 10 copies of a book which are exactly same. So anything which is replaceable and has equal value, so that is called fungible. So now let's see what is non-fungible. So non-fungible simply means something which is not replaceable. So when we speak about NFTs which stands for non-fungible tokens. So the non-fungible means something which is not replaceable. For example, we have a like painting of Mona Lisa, right? Which is like one of its kind. So that is something very unique and not replaceable. Another, it can be domain like articinvent.com. So that is also very unique digital asset. Now going back to what is fungible token, right? So we have heard about cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is a fungible token. Why? Because one Bitcoin can be exchanged with another Bitcoin of the same value. Similarly for Ether. So one Ether, can be exchanged with another Ether of the same value, right? But it has to be of same class. For example, a Bitcoin can always be replaced by another Bitcoin. Similarly, an ETH can be replaced by another Ether. Now coming to non-fungible tokens, these are unique digital assets with blockchain managed ownership. In other words, NFT, imagine NFT is just like, piece of code, right? It's just a piece of code which is, attached to a content, any content. It can be an image, it can be a video, and that NFT provides a digital signature and a unique ID to the digital asset. So that is what makes any digital, even a tweet, even a tweet can be converted into an NFT. So these tokens, NFT tokens can imagine them as data or kind of metadata, which are linked to the content like image or video, and that makes them unique. This signature of the artist, it makes it unique. So unlike the cryptocurrencies like Bitcoins or Ethers, non-fungible tokens are not equal. One non-fungible token is not equal to another. Every NFT is unique. That is one of the key concepts of NFT, right? And just like we sell any property, right? So NFTs can also be created, can be bought or sold in an online marketplace. So the most famous NFT marketplace right now is OpenSea. It is called OpenSea.io. So it's a very famous online platform where you can create NFTs, you can buy NFTs and as well as sell NFTs. Now even like we have the problem why the blockchain is used to sell or to manage NFTs is because we were even at the advent of the blockchain. There was a great difficulty in moving one asset from one person to another person, and the tracking of ownership was very difficult. So, for example, we have like our digital content in Facebook, in Twitter, anything we create digitally is our own digital content. But how do you prove your ownership? It's very difficult, right? So that is where blockchain comes in. That is why blockchain is required, because it keeps records, right, of every transactions. Similarly, for NFT, it keeps records of any transaction in NFT space. Now let's understand from the technical side what exactly NFT is, right? So NFT is simply a metadata or a kind of a small data which is added to a file, which creates a unique signature, right? And that file can be an image, a song, a tweet, a text posted on a website, and various other digital formats. That basically means that someone, can own a digital file. And how do you prove that someone is the owner of a file, right? So that is where it can be evaluated using NFT. So there is a piece of code, that is tagged to the file. So, and that is verifiable because when you buy an NFT, so that is being recorded in the blockchain, right? So anybody can go in a platform, in an online platform. There are certain online platforms called Etherscan. So you can go to the online platform and you can verify like who is the rightful owner of that NFT. So NFT is basically two numbers. It's a combination of two numbers. The first is token ID, right? So when you create a token, any NFT asset, so there is one token ID created and linked to that asset. So simply NFT is a combination of a token ID and a contact address. So there are two things. So, and this token ID is generated when you create a token in an online using the online services like OpenSea.io is an online marketplace where you can generate NFTs and you can create these token IDs. And then there is a contact address, right? So contact address is nothing but when you sign up to an online platform like OpenSea, so there is also a wallet created. You need a wallet. So the most famous wallet is MetaMask. So for example, when you create an account in MetaMask, an address is created, right? And that address is registered at the blockchain. And this is what is called the contract address. So at its very core, NFT is simply these two numbers. And then there are other important elements like the wallet address, the link to that item. So this is an example of what you see in the screen is an example of metadata where you can see the contract address. So it's just an alphanumeric number and there's a token ID, which is like just numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, which has a defined length. And then there's a name of the token and also the link to the asset. For example, if you have created one video, for example, right? And that you want to convert that video as NFT. And then when you create the NFT, you have to provide the link to the asset. And this metadata becomes encoded into that file, into that NFT file. So again, there are two concepts like the metadata can be on-chain or off-chain, right? So on-chain metadata is where you can store the metadata with the token, right? And it is stored in the blockchain. For example, Ethereum is a blockchain where you can store the metadata. And then there is another concept of off-chain metadata, where metadata can be stored off the chain. For example, in servers or in some other file format. One of the file format is IP, is Interplanetary File System. Now coming to the types of NFTs. So when you say NFTs, right? So NFT are just common stuff, very normal stuff we use every day, right? It's like a piece of music can be converted to NFT. It can be art, the video game items, any sporting moments. For example, like a cricket hero, right? If it is hit a six, right? So those particular moment where say the country won the match. So any sporting moment can do any soccer ball match or anything. So that can be converted into an NFT. Any memes, any trading cards or collectibles, virtual fashion goods are the types of NFT. Virtual land, even there is a new concept coming of metaverse, and there are virtual places where you can buy virtual land. I know it sounds crazy, but this is how the NFT world is. So this is one of the now I think I have shared my screen. So I think you can see now the first tweet ever by Jack Dorsey. So this is the first tweet by Jack Dorsey, the Twitter CEO. So while setting up the tweet, this particular tweet, which was tweeted by Jack Dorsey, was sold for a staggering of $2.9 million. So I know it sounds crazy, but this is what it is. So NFT can be sold, so it was sold at such a high price. So another example of the NFT was the www source code. There's the first source code which was written by Team Burners was again sold for 5.4 million. Now, people will think, why are people buying just a digital asset, a digital copy at such high price, right? So the answer lies in the human psychology, right? So if there is something which is very scarce, like the tweet, right? And there is just the first tweet ever tweeted. So people want to get associated with it, people want to buy it, right? And then there is another point of investment. For example, if you're buying something of value of $2, and there is another user who is willing to buy, say, even $5, right? Then it's just like a stock market where there is a hype, right? So if you buy a stock today, you expect that the prices will go up. Similarly, with hype of NFT, people are expecting, and even it is like the reality that the prices go up and then you sell it again. So you buy the NFT and get involved into NFT, as a source of investment. And as we know, the scarcity raises demand. So this is why people are, now going crazy about NFTs. And actually, when you pay for an NFT, what you get is the right to transfer the token to your digital wallet. So it's just this token, it just that proves your ownership to the original digital file. Now, the most dominant network used for NFTs is Ethereum. So the others like Solana and Cardano, but the most, the most important or the most widely used blockchain is Ethereum. So let's now see. So I created, a profile on OpenSea, which is the online marketplace. So let's now explore. Let's see like how an NFT looks like. So this is a real NFT. This is created by Jack, and this is the price. The 69 Ethereum. This is being offered for a sale for 69 Ethereum. That means almost about 1 crore 25 lakh rupees, or 166 USD, 1000 USD. So let's explore this. So this is a piece of art which is created as NFT. So as I said, there are two important things. So the first is the contact address and then the token ID, right? So these combinations makes it unique. And there is something called token standard. So the standard used for NFTs are ERC 721. So this is a standard followed for NFTs. So the standard for cryptocurrencies is like ERC 20, but for NFT the standard is ERC 721. And you can see the blockchain is Ethereum in this case, right? And here you can see there's something called minted. So when you first create the NFT, the process is called minting. So it was minted by Jack, right? But 6 months ago, it was sold to another person called Jason L for an amount of 4.7 Ethereum. So that's how it is. And that's how the NFT world is. Sounds crazy that people are buying, an image or in a video, a piece of art for such a high price. But that is what, the future people are investing it as an investment, so that if somebody else buys it at a higher price, you get some, Ethereum. So that way you can earn out of NFTs. Now, so coming back to how it's related to IPR. So basically, there are three types of IPR, like patents, copyright, trademarks, which has some close association with NFT. So first we'll explore about patents, then we'll explore about copyrights, and a little bit about trademarks. So NFTs are creating new possibilities, right? As well as new issues in the patent space. Now the question is, do NFTs have applications in patent space? So what are the possibilities? So the question is, can patent be tokenized, right? Like any digital asset, like an image or video. So can patent be tokenized? Another question is, can NFTs be used as a medium to transfer ownership of patent assets? Or is there already a platform which is dedicated to blockchain-enabled IP transitions? So the answer to all this is yes. Yes, patent can also be tokenized. The possibility remains where you can buy and sell the patent ownership rights using online platform. And the most, the fact that was in news last, I think in a couple of months back, was and partnership between IBM and IPWE. So they are trying to create one platform, right, where you can secure patent ownership using the blockchain-based NFT platform. So IPWE is creating those kind of platforms. So this is one of the platform that is to be watched. Generally, IBM generates about 1 billion US dollars in royalties like every year. So, and I think in 2020 it dropped marginally. I think it went to around $625 million as royalty as by selling licensing by direct patent licensing. So they want to probably minimize and automate the licensing part. So I think this is what IPWE and the partnership between IBM they are trying to explore. It's taking a little time to open, so let's move to. So what they are trying to offer from this platform is that any SMEs, right, that can join this platform and acquire license for a small fee. So they want to make it all automated. So when you buy an NFT or there is any NFT transaction, so there is also a concept called smart contract, right? So by use of the smart contract, you can define the terms of licensing, right? All these things can be built in the token. So that is the beauty of having NFT and using those to create, different possibilities of the ownership rights, selling and transactions. And let's now discuss about NFT related inventions. So the famous one is, CryptoKicks patent, which is very famous. So upon purchase of CryptoKick, the purchaser also receives an NFT, which is tied to a sneaker, and they can transfer it if they sell the shoe. So it helps to verify the authenticity of the product. And Nike also allows, to own CryptoKicks. Is kind of an NFT where you can create custom shoe designs by digitally breeding the owner's digital shoe design. So if there are two shoe designs, so you can create a new shoe design. So that is the patent is all about. And from the Indian scenario, I tried to search like if there are any NFTs related inventions in India. So there were like many hits, like around 24 hits. But then these are the 4 important, patents from Indian scenario where people have, tried to invent around NFTs. And the first one was in 2018. And then there is a gap, and then there are 3 in 2021. There is a system and method for document authentication, unique item creation using a distributed ledger. So all these kind of inventions are related to NFTs. Now, what are the challenges? So one of the important confusion or the people have that when you buy an NFT, they get the work, the art as, as they become owner of the actual art, but that's not the case. Similarly, for patents, NFTs do not automatically transfer the ownership, right? So you need to have a smart contract, which is a part of the Ethereum blockchain. So if there is a smart contract associated with the NFT, then the possibility remains of transferring, the ownership or the license using any NFT transaction. And the most important things to check out while buying an NFT is the terms of service. So every platform like OpenSea platform or Nifty gateway platform. So these are the platforms where you can buy, or sell NFTs. So they have their own terms of service. So it's very important to read the terms of service and the smart contract terms before any, evaluating to go ahead with any transaction. And then there are environmental concerns, like because every minting or every transactions on a blockchain, they require a lot of calculations, computer calculations to be done, and that requires electricity, right? And that's why. And then there is another concern of compliance, right? Because every country has its own, patent rights or patent laws, and they are different from each other. So they require some amendment in the current patent law, for example, from Indian perspective, so that NFT becomes in compliance. But right now, that is not the case, right? And with regards to copyrights, again, there is a very confusion about what they actually get when you buy an NFT. So some think that they acquire the work of art and all its accompanying rights, the right to distribute, reproduce. But in reality, What they are simply buying is the metadata associated with the work, not the work itself. Now, while most NFTs do not involve transfer of rights, right? But in some instances, the sellers do offer, to turn the token into actual transfer of copyright ownership. However, it is difficult to assess if this is the compliant with legal formalities needed for copyright. So right now, it's very difficult to assess, that if any online transaction of transfer of rights will be legally valid, right, in the patent offices, right? Because it's a requirement in many offices to have in writing transfer of rights. So the difference, with NFT is that the scarcity of original versions, right? This is the big part of what people are paying for. What gives NFT value is simply is determined by what the market will bear. So as I said, as an investment option, if somebody is buying an NFT and then they think that after some time the price will go up, right? So that is what people are, and the news of the NFTs being sold at such high price in $1 million, like the first tweet by Jack Dorsey, the source code of www, which was sold at $5.4 million. So all these hypes or the news is creating an ecosystem, and people are thinking that buying and selling of NFTs will drive value. Of course, that only time will tell, like if the hype will continue or it will fade. But NFTs are there to stay for some time, and at least the technology behind it, the blockchain is going to stay, right? So the applications may be different, but they are going to stay. So this is another, a copyright violation which occurred, right? Somebody posted an image in Twitter, and another user copied the image and converted into an NFT. And then when the original user realized that his copyright has been infringed, somebody has used his work, and then this was a post which was created. So, but then if you find that somebody, so this is again, problem with NFT is that the first post, right, the first image of NFT is very difficult to verify unless and until it is of huge repute, like the Twitter, the Jack Dorsey's tweet, right? So you can always have a verification from social media that it was original or not. But in case of other, you need the user has to be very they have to check themselves that it is the real or not. But any subsequent transaction of NFTs that can be verifiable using the blockchain. But the first instance or the first copy, digital copy, is original or not, the user has to be really taking care of to check the authenticity. So that is why the marketplaces like OpenSea, they generally make terms that user bears the full responsibility for verifying the identity and authenticity of NFTs, and that the user purchased from third-party sellers and the platform creators make no claim about legitimacy, functionality, and authenticity of users or NFT. So it's the user who has to verify if they are buying the first time, right? Because any subsequent transactions can be recorded in the blockchain, but the first time you have to verify that the NFT which you are dealing in is authentic or not. Again, so as I said, any content copied, right, that constitutes copyright or trademark infringement, so and violates the intellectual property rights, it can be reported by multiple channels. So you can report it, to the online platform like OpenSea, and they'll take it down. So most of these online, platforms has created a form where you can fill up any report of trademark infringement. And these NFT creators like OpenSea will then, according to the Copyright Act, will take down your NFT or any piece of work which is violating the copyright infringement. I have some few questions being asked. So let me check. So one of the user is asking, please explain when did NFT creations and transaction actually started. So the NFT started, the transaction started in 2017. So CryptoKitties were some of the first NFTs that were being sold in the marketplace. So yes, it started in 2017. Okay, so there is another question who is asking about NFT standards. Yes, the standard followed by NFTs is ERC 721. So ERC stands for Ethereum Request for Comments. So this is a standard where, it's basically a standard for metadata, right? If somebody is using the standard, you can directly acquire the code from a library. So there is a library where you can import the code. So it makes your life easy to create the metadata, and it increases the compatibility with other NFT. So the standard is ERC 721. And so yeah, and then there is another question of fraud, right? So is there any fraud? Yes, some frauds have been reported. For example, as I mentioned, somebody used the picture from Twitter posted by someone else, and then they uploaded the picture in the NFT Marketplace platform and created a token ID for that image. But then when the original user realized that somebody is using their rights, and then it was reported to the marketplace, it was taken down. So yes, if you are using somebody else's trademark, logos or somebody else, then you are liable for trademark infringement. So it is very prudent to check that the first minting or the first creation of NFT is your original work.